you want to know what it is?
Information.
Remember,
Information.
all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
There's something up there. To the left of the sun. Oh my god.
Thanks for taking the time to join me on my channel, Nigel View on Things. How you doing? How you keeping? Hope everybody's safe and sound where you are. You've got to say that was quite an interesting clip from Mr. MBB333. Links to his channel in the description box down below. Nice and simple for everybody to find. Does a great job in showing things that are rare, that our scientists always have an answer for, that other people have never seen before in their lives. Wow. Let's diagnose what we're looking at here. We're looking at, well, what is right about that clip. For a start off, we're looking at chemtrail clouds, rainbow clouds, and that cocktail of mix that we're all breathing in. And I'm sure it's doing us the world of good, but they're not chemtrailing, are they? We're looking at our sun and sun simulator, and this just to me looks like a great big LED torch in the sky. I've said this many times. It does look right, doesn't it? Blue lines coming out of it, red halo, yeah. And then we got this object. There's a ring round the outside. If you were to look up directly, you would not see it. Indirectly, through the use of a digital camera, and that's because digital cameras are more receptive than the human eye and seem to bring out things that we can't see. And don't forget also, if all the angles meet up, everything is in line, when we take a photograph, we get to see this object. Back in 2017, this is the first time I saw it. Many people around the world were actually capturing this as well. And it depends whereabouts in the world you were, whereabouts around the sun it was. We're looking at a lens flare. This lens flare is always red, but in the center focal point, it's always white. In this case, it happens to be a very turquoisey, bluey green. Happens to match that. Just saying. And don't forget, what a lens flare is a representation of a light source. If we were to zoom into this center point here, not the object, this center point here, we would actually get to see what that lens flare represented. As you can see, it's blue skies and it's a gorgeous day. It's about 3:10, and then right in the background you can see that we've got a chemtrail plane going over. And then let's have a look at our sun. Oh look, we've got a lens flare that goes up and down, and left and right, and our sun looks like a massive big LED torch in the sky, like I've always said. What? Wait a minute, what's that underneath the sun? There seems to be an object, and it don't move when you move the camera. Ain't that strange? There seems to be also, don't know how well that's going to translate, but as I'm doing that big circle, like there's a sky disc around that object, you see the ring going round and round. What we're looking at is a clip from the video. I've zoomed it in a little bit. I want to have a look at this lens flare. I've used this in the video before. I'll leave the links to all those in the description box down below. But this reminds me of something. This reminds me of a lens. And the reason I'm saying that is because we've got one line there, two lines there. Here's our sun simulator, the focal point. Have a very close look at this. There's a line there, line there, line there, and a line there. That looks absolutely normal. We got this blue object here, and that's got a line around the outside. Yet again, running through a lens system. Looking at this picture here, and this picture is from IdentifyThis. I'll leave the links to her channel in the description box down below. She seemed to have disappeared. Not doing very much at the moment. Need to have a word, see if she's okay. But you can clearly see one line, two lines. It just reminds me of that. So basically what we're looking at is the sun simulator, very small, very bright light, very big lens system. Hey, what you get? you get a great big LED torch in the sky, which I've shown many different times. And now moving into April, I made another video about this object. Let's have a look. Straight off the bat, we got our blue object here. I'm going to explain. Don't get all excited. We got our lens flare here. We got our lens petal effect left and right. This blue object's been there for at least 2 weeks that I know of. You're going to go, whoa, Nigel, you're pulling me leg. It's in front of a building. It's got to be a lens flare. Well, first things first, I don't need to do a finger test. But what I'm going to tell you is a reflection or a refraction from something up in space. How far? Not really too sure. Let's very, very quickly have a look at the video and talk it through. And as you can see, we got our lens flare, we got the blue ring that goes around the blue object, the petals move, and we got a van coming up on the left hand side. But one thing's consistent about this blue object, it doesn't move, and it goes in front of the van. Let me very, very quickly talk about this picture, because this is very, very important. We've always had lens flares when we take photographs, because it is what it is. And don't forget what we got to remember, each lens flare has its own fingerprint basically. When we're looking at these petal effects, yeah, something relatively new. People say, well, yeah, this is a lens thing that's been going on, but it's only been happening for a couple of years. Why didn't it happen before? All of a sudden it happens. And now when I take a picture of the sun, I don't get to see these. What, did the coating on my camera lens sort of like melt away? Yeah. Something that shouldn't be on camera. Hey, like this object here, running through a lens system. Now when we get to see sun dogs, sun halos, whatever you like to call them, I'm going to show you something that for me proves that there's a lensing system in place. We were looking at a 3-watt LED torch being projected onto a door. Now if I superimpose that picture onto R.S. Turner's picture, guess what? It looks exactly the same. We get the bluing around the outside. This is our sun simulator, and here's the lens effect. I'm just saying, what a coincidence. To me, it looks identical. Brian Bash sent me this photo in from Austin, Texas, asking me if I could analyse it. So let's analyse away. The first thing we can notice, we've got chemtrails in the background, and according to the American government, until just recently, they don't chemtrail. But now they're saying that they do it for weather modification. Now, if you want to know what's in our chemtrails, many different videos out there, but also some good reading is the Rhode Island Bill. I'll leave the links in the description box down below, so it's nice and simple for everybody to find. We can also notice that around our sun simulator, we've got the petal effect, and we get that around our moon. A very new effect, only in the past 2.5 years. Our sun simulator, yes, it doesn't simulate the sun, it doesn't produce any heat, it produces extreme light. Looks like a great big LED torch in the sky. Our sun is still there, and I've proved this many different times. No sun, no life, no discussion, not going to even talk about it. The idea of the sun simulator, it acts like I say, a great big flashlight in the sky and takes the shadows away when something eclipses our sun. In combination with the chemtrails and everything else, it acts just like a big one-way mirror in the sky, and it makes it hard to see anything at all. They can turn it up and down, it's not that big, but hey, of course, there's nothing there to see, is there? That's why you're looking at that bit of video now. Any rates, we can see we've got two objects just here and here. I'm looking at a lens in the sky, Brian, not a planet, because it looks very, very see-through. I think it's an object that they use to hide the planets. And this happens to be a reflection of this object here. At any rate, thank you very much for sending the picture in. Before we watch the next clip, what would you expect to see if we had planets coming towards us? What is that one thing that our governments can't hide? That is correct, a pole shift. maverickstar reloaded. Let's have a look at this clip.
What I wanted to tell you is exactly where we are with the poles right now over the northern hemisphere, and give you an approximate time left before we hit the all-important 40 degrees. As you can see on this chart, there's 2018 and here's the 40 degree mark, so you can see by all these little pins how far the magnetic North Pole has migrated to date over the last 118 years. So we are at this present time a migrational distance of 1,566 miles. That means we have around 334 miles left before we get to the 40 degrees, and this was based on the fact that each degree increment was a measure of 47 miles over the northern hemisphere.
I do highly recommend that you watch this video because it tells you everything you need to know. I'll leave the links to his channel in the description box down below, nice and simple for everybody to find. Another thing to note is every single clip that we've just looked at, the sky is red. And there happens to be something beside our sun. For me, the evidence is just overwhelming. It just tells me everything I need to know. And when many people across the world taking pictures, videos of things that shouldn't be by our sun, in our sky, you've got to ask yourself what's going on. Just looking around at the world stage tells me everything I need to know. Who's going to kick off first? What's actually going to happen first? Russia? China? Korea? The world seems to be very volatile. We need to sit up and pay attention. That event to make you look over your shoulder, look the opposite direction, is going to happen. We're being told it's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. I'm just saying. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. Let's get on with the video. Let's have a look at this clip and just pay attention, because the object we're just about to look at, by the sun, doesn't seem to be behind a lens. Just saying. 7th of September 2018, time on the camera is 6:58. I'm playing with the cameras, pointing it towards the sun and zooming in, and I found something quite interesting. Let's have a look. And just there, I'm going to stop it very quickly, because we get to see a very big light bulb. It seems to be quite red around the outside there, nice and bright. Big LED torch, and then this pops out. Just there we have a object, or an object should I say. We're also looking at two lens flares here. 1, 2. This is a lens flare of, at any rate, don't forget what a lens flare is, a projected image of a light source. So that's what we get to see on our screen. We've got an object that happens to be green here, lens flares that happens to be green here and red here, and you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's something that shouldn't be on camera. Now, the difference between this object and these lens flares happens to be, let me just play it and you can see that it's very windy, and that green object doesn't actually move. For me, I find that quite interesting. And don't forget, every person's camera in the world is faulty. They're all just lens flares. Our governments would never tell us. They just don't want the chaos. They need the upper hand. Don't be scared, just be prepared. Anyway, that's all I've got for you now. Much love, much peace, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.